People often ask me, what led me to build a replica of Noah's Ark in a small town of Oregon? They ask how I came about to put a life-size copy of the Tabernacle of Moses populated with animated characters to share the story of salvation inside. It all came from faith, and a faith which became a vision, and a vision which became a ministry. To this point, I have felt that many parts of my life struggle were just too personal or too painful to share. But the time is right for sharing my ministry with all of its pain and trials. In this story, I will share with you the fire which tempered my soul, and the tribulations which strengthened my faith, and the difficult times through which I was carried by our Savior. The story of the Ark ministry began with the little girl held captive, paralyzed, immobile for a year. This is my story. There were factors which worked to mold me to be who I am. I was the child of a God-fearing inventor, a product of the Great Depression, and I was raised during the turmoil of a country at war. This is the story of the wife of the builder of the ark, and here's my precious husband. He's called Noah around the ark. What factors worked in my life to create this ministry, and what made my faith grow to what it is today? What led me to create this ministry of biblical proportions? Our ministry, Noah's Ark, really came into existence as a result of my faith, which stemmed from my life experiences. Come on with me, and I'll give you a sneak preview, and then we'll talk about how it all began. Inside, you'll see animals painted on the walls of the Noah's Ark section, and where you can enjoy a snack or browse through the Christian Bible bookstore. There's a playhouse ark for kids, and cages with animals on the walls. Terry, our son, and Norman, our grandson, came up this summer and added bamboo cages for Noah's animals. In back, we have the full-size Wilderness Tabernacle of Moses, where you can take a tour, where you can see the life-size exhibit of the sanctuary that he built thousands of years ago. And also, when we give a presentation, we bring along a full-size Ark of the Covenant. The angels on top are really something to see. And inside, you will see the 10 Commandments, they're blue, and the pot of manna, and Aaron's rod that budded. But I don't want to give everything away. Wait a minute, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Pedal with me back in time to see how the ministry began. I was a little girl like any other little girl that played with homemade dolls and dressed my pets in clothes. My barefoot, carefree, patch clothing existence forever changed when the loan against optimism was called by a terror of war afar and viruses at home. Oh yes, but one day life changed suddenly when I went from a carefree child visiting my grandmother to an inmate prison of a body that just wouldn't move. Here is my story that I'm going to share with an excerpt from my book. The 6-year-old fun was non-stop at grandmother's house until the day my head felt strangely heavy. One morning I woke and it weighed 1,000 pounds, and my neck drew back and began to sway. And suddenly it was hard to breathe. My chest was tight. I knew something was very wrong. My favorite grandmother, who's the favorite person in the whole wide world with faith to move mountains, was helpless to make me better. So she took me to the hospital. 6 years had given me a little control over my world, but now I couldn't even pick up a spoon or hug my doll or run across the grass. It took all my effort to hold open my eyes and all my work to breathe. Screaming was exhausting, as it was useless, so I soon gave up on that too. Oh, how I wanted to run away. If I couldn't do that, I just wanted to be able to sit, but I couldn't as much as hold up my head. The pillow held my head in place as if it were a magnet on metal. "Bug," said the squat nurse as she wheeled me covered down the hall that first day. "I don't want to get your bugs." I howled, "I don't want them either. Grandma, help! Don't cover them in. I don't want them in my bed." But the words fell on deaf ears as the ugly nurse, only to be answered by the eerie echoes of her horrid footsteps in the deserted hall. Echoes which ricocheted against my mind for months as I lay in my bed, trapped in a tomb of a little girl body that would just not obey. The first day I thought I'd only be there overnight. The doctors would fix me. Doctors knew everything about making people better. And Father and Mother would come in the morning and they'd bring my pesky little brother and my favorite grandmother and my clothespin doll, and they would take me home and I would sleep at Grandmother's house. Then we'd all go home and I'd snuggle with my doll in my own warm bed and I would be strong again and the bugs I couldn't see would be gone. When the sun rose, I'm going to stop here because I don't want to give it all away. If you would like me to come to your church or club or group to give a presentation, I would be happy to do that. Or to look at my book. Go to my webpage, please. It is www.noahsark, and that's A-R-K, Winston.com. And you can even call Noah's Ark too. It is 541-784-1261. Please call.